Welcome to the show with no name for Friday the 13th, 13th of June 2014. I'm Bob Going with Jim DeKosha and Gavin Murdoch. It's a full moon too.
Yes,
full
it is.
moon, Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen again until 2049, and who cares? Really, what difference does it make if the full moon falls on Friday the 13th?
What difference does it? I heard that phrase recently.
What difference does it make?
What difference does it make?
That's right. That's right.
What difference does it make? So here we are.
Here we are.
Let's see. We last met on Tuesday on the radio program. Since then, Mayor Thane has appointed her own charter commission.
Yes, she has. Very aggressive committee.
Did they meet last night?
Yeah. We had our meeting, and then they were coming in after us. Apparently, they booked the same room as us, but we started at 5, so we're done. And I think they were coming in at 7.
Did you pass notes?
Well, Al Mancini was the only one who was the first one in, so we chatted with him for a while.
It's definitely an interesting crew that she has assembled for her.
Yeah.
Well, let's back up a little. Well, what? A month ago, she was vetoing
Everything.
vetoing the charter, the Common Council Charter Commission that I'm the chairman of.
And she said she didn't need it.
That's right. We do not need a charter commission. We have too many more other priorities. We absolutely do not need a charter commission.
But all of a sudden,
we need a second.
Need a second one.
You didn't need one, but you certainly need two.
It's not only a second one, it's really a first one. Because you could tell the way the Corporation Council was gloating about this.
Yes.
The law is peculiar, very peculiar, and you don't know how these things happen. They happen apparently because somebody somewhere needed something geared specifically for them.
Or something, yeah.
And that's how these laws come into effect. The mayor can appoint a charter commission without any input from the Common Council.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
It's a unique power that the mayor has by municipal home rule law, if we have an elected executive.
She can do that, but whatever they come up with, does it have to go to a public hearing? Does it have to go through the council?
Referendum?
It does not go through the council.
It doesn't have to.
No.
They don't have to approve it.
That's correct.
She
The
can
Common
avoid.
Council is out.
That's what I was.
But there's more to it than that. But the Mayor's Charter Commission can put items directly on the ballot, bypassing the Common Council
Okay.
entirely. In addition, if that's not power enough, in addition, if there is a mayor-appointed charter commission in existence, and they put a single item on the ballot relating to the charter, it blocks the Common Council from putting on the ballot any charter-related issues. The Common
That
Council
pertains to the same thing.
no
anything related at all.
anything related to the charter.
Oh.
So if we back up again, our charter commission is an informal one. It was not adopted pursuant to local law, pursuant to the municipal home rule law. It was appointed by the Common Council essentially as an advisory commission to them. So our mission is the same as the other ones, except our powers are limited. When I say our mission, I mean my charter commission that I'm chairman of. So that we can review the charter, make recommendations, pass them on to the Common Council. They can ignore them or adopt them. And if they choose to adopt them, they can adopt them by local law, subject to the usual rules of local law relating to charters, meaning that if they have to, they can be put on, they would be put on the ballot if they diminish the powers of an elected official or increase the powers of an elected official, and other things, which we don't need to get into. The end result of the mayor appointing her charter commission is my charter commission becomes meaningless.
I was gonna say, if,
because no matter what we do, if we make a recommendation, to the Common Council and they approve it, they can't put it on the ballot as long as the mayor's got a charter commission who puts a single. And the mayor's charter commission can last for 2 years, so that they could put one issue on they could put an innocuous issue on the ballot in November, such as, I shouldn't give them any ideas, but I'm sure they've already thought about these things. Suppose they said we're eliminating the phrase alderman and we're substituting council person.
that's all they gotta do.
That's all they have to do is put that one issue on the ballot,
And that
and the Common Council cannot amend the charter on any issue whatsoever.
Wow.
And then all they have to do is somewhere between, in the 60 days prior to the election, meet again and put a similar innocuous issue on the ballot for the following year, because it's too late to put it on the general election this year.
You're blocked.
And then they block them for the whole remainder of the Common Council term.
So could you say checkmate?
No,
What would you say?
Sayonara.
no, because the Common Council can still adopt a local law creating their charter commission pursuant to the municipal home rule law, at which point we become a legal charter commission and have the power to put these things on the ballot ourselves.
Irrespective?
Irrespective of the fact that the mayor, the mayor's charter commission can do it, because the exception, the prohibition in the law says except a local law produced by another charter commission.
But would that allow you to put the same option on the ballot? They're talking about adding something to the mayor. You could put something on that was similar or contrary to that.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, and the way these things work is if there's a conflict in the local laws that are adopted, let's say they both pass, the one with the most votes would take precedence.
So she didn't quite accomplish what she thought she was going to accomplish.
Well, no, she has so far.
So far.
And you know, if all you're talking about is playing games, then she succeeded thus far. Now, what this means is that the Common Council, if they want us to continue, and it's up to them, I don't, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a volunteer here. If I go home and spend the rest of the summer playing in my yard, I'll be happy with that. But if they want us to continue, then they now have to introduce a local law, pass it, wait for the mayor to veto it, override the veto, and then we're legal again. And then we can do something. The one advantage, the reason that doesn't, you might say, well, jeepers, this is going to take up the whole summer just fighting that issue. The fact is, we've already gone through the whole charter, and we have a pretty good idea of the things we want to talk about. We mark the things we want to talk about, we want to vote on. We'll be able to do that fairly quickly. And because even though we got to go through all the delay of establishing the local law, we won't have to do it at the other end. Because I was planning on, we had to really finish our commission up by the end of July, because if the Common Council introduced the local laws that we supported, they would have to put them in, wait for the veto, override the veto, and then hope to get it on the ballot within 60 days of the general election. Well, now we can, if we're a legal commission, then we can put them directly on the ballot and they don't go through a mayoral veto again. So all we're doing is moving the veto period up to the front instead of the back at this point. But it's just such nonsense.
It is.
You know,
And you know what?
Go ahead.
I read the article, I'm not sure what night it was, where they had a meeting up there with Swager and all these supposedly intelligent people about the name calling and the
Playing nice in the sandbox.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden, the next day, she said that evening, she said how great this suggestion is. It should smooth everything out. The next day, she give you guys a dig in the newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, she's saying how great it is. We got to stop the talking about each other, calling each other names. The next day, she says you guys.
Yeah, next day, I'm appointing intelligent people.
Right.
Well, that went over real well with my board last night, let me tell you.
I'm
You know,
sure.
we've got 7 people, only 2 of whom are Republicans on my committee.
Right.
Every single one of them is dedicated to doing the job, and every one of them is opposed to the sandbox nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay? They're absolutely serious. I've never seen a more serious, dedicated committee. I was shocked. Every one of them is contributing mightily to the discussion. You know, I mean, we got people on there who are. We've got at least one person on there who was a staunch mayor supporter, but she's not. She's not antagonistic to anything that we've discussed so far. She may vote against some of the things that come up. Who knows? I don't know. But the discussion has been entirely civil, thoughtful, productive, and intelligent.
You know.
And a point of personal privilege. I get specifically vetoed. You know, one of the reasons I'm vetoing this is because, former corporation counsel is on there. And then she goes out of her way to say, I'm appointing intelligent lawyers to this committee.
But she does have an interesting crew.
She does.
Well, we were discussing off camera, how does our comrade on this program, Michael Chiara, take part in this commission when he's sworn upon the altar of God that he would never step foot in City Hall again?
Yeah. Like I said, I was going to call him last night, and I didn't know that he was having a meeting, so I wouldn't have got a hold of him anyway. But because I wanted to bust him, but I said let him cool off for a couple of days because I'm sure somebody said something to him by now.
Now, is she that short of supporters that?
You know what? I read Dan Weaver's article. Where did I read it? On his on the Compass. It might have been on the Compass. He's a big supporter of the mayor.
Yes, he is.
And he said that in his article. But boy, is she wrong on a couple of these things. Do you read the Compass?
I haven't for a couple of weeks, no.
Well, I don't read it.
I saw that, but I can't remember what he was talking about.
I don't either. Because, but I remember that part that he said.
Well, Dan is an honest man. He has strong convictions that are all over the ideological map, and he's admitted that to me. He says, I don't know where I stand on the spectrum because he's he's a radical libertarian on some things, and a normal conservative on others, a flaming liberal on some others, and he basically finds himself supporting neo-communists half the time. But what the heck, he sells my books, and he's my friend. So.
Well, at least he takes an objective view on things without locking himself into a particular ideology, and that's what you want people to do.
Yeah.
He thinks.
He does.
Well, that's it.
Different issues have a different perspective on what it's doing to the society, and some things.
And he's a free thinker. He.
That's right. Somebody else doesn't think for him.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right. And if he ever held public office, he would never be able to get anything done because he would never be able to put a coalition together. But having said that, you need people to think and express their opinions and give you a contrary view, because if you never get a contrary view, you never see the other side.
Exactly. And you
or
never,
that there is another side.
Yeah, exactly. And you never know if you're doing right or wrong if you don't look at these different
All right.
sides. And you know, sometimes I really disagree with him, and other times,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's on spot on.
So
So I
there
was
we are.
disappointed I didn't make the mayor's.
You weren't even asked.
I
on that.
wasn't even asked, and I felt really bad. For about 5 seconds.
Somebody on our committee, I forget who it was, said, when I decided to throw my name in for this committee, I submitted my name to the mayor's office. That's how it got passed on. That's what the aldermen were doing. They said, hey, anybody's interested.
Yeah.
There's some other odd little things about these laws. A mayor's charter commission, it says specifically, has to be no less than 9 nor more than 15 members. Like, who cares? How many members are on it, right? What difference does that make?
Yeah.
But it says that. But a charter commission appointed by the Common Council says nothing whatsoever about that.
Really?
Yeah. But the mayor's charter, the mayor appoints the chairman, the vice chairman, the secretary, and
She has the choice of who fills what roles on the commission?
Mm-hmm.
The mayor has control over who fills what roles?
yeah. So she.
It's not very independent that way, is it then, Robert?
Well, the thing is, once it's appointed, once they take their oaths of office, they can ignore the mayor altogether.
I was going to say.
As a matter of fact, that's sort of what happened with our '82 charter commission that I was. The mayor appointed me chairman of that, and then he started interfering with what we were doing, and then did some. I think fired Baldine in the middle of the
Twice?
Well, no, in the middle of our thing. We fired him 4 times. Actually.
Yeah.
God bless him. 90 years old, and sharp as a tack. His hearing is as bad as mine, but speaking of 90-year-olds, they keep talking about who should run for president in 2016, and I think an obvious person that's been ignored is a man with terrific experience, eligible for the office. There's no question he's eligible for the office, and that's George H.W. Bush, who celebrated his 90th birthday yesterday.
By skydiving.
By skydiving.
Again.
Yeah, he hadn't done it since his 85th birthday.
Yeah.
90 years old in a wheelchair, but we've had a president in a wheelchair before, and nobody ever said he couldn't do the job, right?
Well, 90% of the people didn't know he was in a wheelchair.
Well, even so. Even so. Wow. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
He's a very frustrating guy as president. He broke his read my lips, no new taxes thing, and that's more than anything else is what got him beat the second time around, because Ross Perot got an awful lot of votes from people who were pissed off about that. But there's probably never been a more decent man to hold the office of president than George H.W. Bush, with a possible exception of his son. And I don't think there's any question about that. And a true patriot. Reading a story this morning about he graduated from one of these eminent male boarding schools, right? I forget which one, but their graduation speaker was the Secretary of War. Okay, that's how well connected this prep school was. Basically he's telling these elite the rich kids go on to college because the nation needs college scholars too, and blah blah blah, and by the time you get out you'll be officers and this, that, and the other, right? And George walks out of the graduation. He had just turned 18 and promptly signed up with a Navy recruiter. And it's interesting. I was researching an incident that took place during the war that my father had written home about, and that was this. He was stationed in Norfolk at the time, and there was this huge accident. They were loading bombs onto a plane or something, and one of them falls off the rack and explodes, and then the others next to it explode, and I forget how many people were killed, but it knocked down buildings and everything else. It was just absolutely massive disaster. And my father was writing about it, and one of his friends was over in that area, but he wanted to write home, make sure that he had seen the friend and he was okay and stuff like that. So it occurred to me that, I don't know why, but that George H.W. Bush may have been stationed in Norfolk about the same time. So I start researching that, and actually wrote to his library in Houston, and they, within 24 hours, sent me a copy of his letters home at the same time discussing this. So that got me into, some of the preserved George H.W. Bush letters to home, to his mother. And I got a pair of letters that are remarkable. One is from my father to his mother, talking about what he wanted to do after the war. The other was Bush to his mother, talking about what he wanted to do after the war. And my father is writing, I think, now my father was salutatorian of his class, but there was no way he was going to college. He had a widowed mother that was scratching a living, working in the railroad depot, counting pencils or something, I don't know. And my father says, I've decided that I want to go to law school. He says, I know it'll be hard. I may have to, work full time and go nights and things like that. It may take a while, but this is what I want to do. Bush, on the other hand, who has, comes from total privilege,
comes from money,
right? Says, I think I don't want to go to college. He says, I've been with all these college flyboys, and they don't know anything more about the job than I do. He says, I think, after the war, the heck with college. I'd like to get a job as a pilot someplace and, fly commercial airplanes and, and, the grass is always greener on the other side, I guess. But both perspectives were really interesting. He says, they're no better than I am, is what is what Bush was saying, and my father was saying, I want to be better than I am. But you can just tell that when he got home, his father, the U.S. Senator from Connecticut, no, you're going to Yale like we all did, and you're going to be Skull and Bones, and he did. But as soon as he got out of college, he struck out on his own. Rather than follow the path of privilege, he went out and scrapped in the oil industry in Texas. And really built up his own business, his own fortune, and then got into politics after he had achieved things for himself and completely ignored the father who was the senator from Connecticut. And
he earned what he got.
Yeah,
on his own.
That's a fallacy. He didn't earn it on his own. He had his father in back of him. He didn't go down there he didn't go penniless. So
they lived a pretty normal 1950s Eisenhower suburban existence.
That's okay. He did, but he wasn't penniless. He didn't
Well, I didn't say he was broke, but he struck out to do what
he knew what he
wanted to do.
and he went and did it with his parents' support. I
Anyway, I admire the guy.
well, so do I. So do
Yeah.
I.
When are you going skydiving?
When am I going? Maybe when I'm 90.
All right.
Okay.
All right, a couple more
maybe.
years.
We'll all go and watch.
We're scheduled. We'll be there. We'll be there. It was really neat. The whole family was up there. When it was George's young George's granddaughter was there to watch Poppy come down.
Yeah. He had a little rougher landing this time than he did when he was 85, though. But
Well,
he landed.
The guy said,
He couldn't put his own feet down. He can't use his legs anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they took him in a wheelchair to the helicopter.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
See, I don't know if I can do that.
But you see that a couple of the guys from D-Day recreated their
Yeah, they did.
their jumps.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about how about that. My new hero, the guy in the old folks' home in England,
He runs
they
away.
said, no, you can't go. So he snuck out and he pinned his medals to the inside of his raincoat. He said, I'm just going out to get a pack of cigarettes or something. And then he disappears. Oh,
Yep.
where is he? Well,
He showed up.
he showed up. He showed up.
I didn't read that.
Oh
Yeah.
he snuck away,
they
and
didn't have
of course, he became an international celebrity immediately.
Yeah, the home said they didn't have enough money to send him, or
Yeah,
some cockamamie excuse to keep him from going, and he got across the channel and everything, because he went out of England and got
He
across.
says, I didn't have any trouble in 1944. I'm having trouble this time. I think the French paid for some of the visits this time.
Well, I know there was discussion about that, but I don't know. They did cough up
I
some
think
at the
they
end.
did cough some up in the end. Yeah, we got to talk to that your fireman friend there, and who went to Normandy.
Oh, Traskis?
Yeah, see what he's got to say for himself.
I didn't see him at the memorial. He may have not been there because they said that he went to
He went to Normandy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile in Iraq,
Or Pakistan, or the southern border, or in a VA hospital.
Iraq is going to be worse than when Sudan was there.
it's just awful. I mean, it has all the looks of Vietnam 1975. The Al Qaeda spin-off there. They not only took what used to be the ancient city of Nineveh, Mosul. They took the bank there, and they now have more money than most countries.
Yeah, 420 million or some ridiculous sum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including gold bullion, which is fungible. They got all the weapons we left behind because it would cost too much to bring them home, so we left them there. Yeah. And meanwhile, the president's out golfing somewhere, weather permitting.
But his advisors are talking to him about the situation.
Yeah, he
that's good.
He hasn't made up his mind what he's going to do over there yet.
Well, he's not going to have to make up his mind. It'll be all over before he makes up his mind. And it's going to spread, because now it's the Shiites versus the Kurds versus the Sunnis again. I see the Kurds wasted no time. They just seized their own territory back. They're not going to wait for those guys to come in and take it.
No.
So you're going to end up with. And these people these are the most vicious of the vicious of the Islamists. They're crucifying Christians, literally.
Are the advisors, or these people who are giving him their opinion, that incompetent in everything?
It's hard to believe.
Is there something that they haven't advised him on that has made sense and gone right? Everything he touches goes to dirt.
Yeah, yes. In addition to, being a crazed ideologue, he has appointed none but the incompetent in like every high position. And they in turn have appointed incompetents beneath them. And anybody with, how many of the good generals did they chase out? Or they just, no, you're not going to,
All of them.
if you're not going to fall on your sword for us, get out.
It's just, whether it's international or national, whatever he has done, or whatever he's been looking over or overlooking, has just gone down the toilet. It really, really has. There's so many issues that need to be dealt with immediately, not planned out in 5 or 6 years. That we could turn around tomorrow and we got nada.
I hesitate to think what he would be like in a crisis. Well, we're seeing it now because there is a crisis, and he didn't care. He didn't care what happens. He didn't care what happens. But it is going to be one bloody mess in that area. The Iranians, at some point, are going to have to come in to protect the Shiites. Who are on the brink of being slaughtered, exterminated. Yeah. So now you got these cross currents. You got these Syrian rebels allied with these other wackos who are taking over Iraq in one wide caliphate there, and then you got the Shiite caliphate running from Iran through southern Iraq. Oh my God. Dr. Cortez wrote a letter to the editor years ago when this started. He says we should just divide that country into, now that we've taken it over, divide it into 3 parts right now. Let the Kurds have Kurdistan, let the Sunnis have the middle, let the Shiites have the bottom, shake hands, say goodbye, and go their merry way.
It really shows how illogical the national boundaries were originally even drawn in that part of the world.
Yeah, well, they were imposed. They've always been imposed, really.
Yeah, they were created. They're not natural borders.
No.
Based upon any historical or cultural experience there. It's awful, and it's going to get worse and worse because it's all this tribalism that is coming out. And you don't think maybe this is another reason, maybe we should make ourselves a little bit more self-sufficient in our energy needs? Gee whiz, they're talking 10 cents in the next 2 weeks that it's going to go up.
There's an article in this morning's paper that the crude
that
out of Iraq has gone up already to $113 a barrel.
Yeah. And at least it's coming out. That spigot's going to get turned off, and all of a sudden we're going to be in.
That's what they're afraid of. Maybe they'll stop. Maybe we'll stop exporting oil.
Well, he wants the price to go up. That's what Obama wants. That's why they're shutting down the coal plants. He wants the cost of energy to go up, and he wants the economy to go down, so the Democrats can stay in power forever. It's a crazy thing, but it works. It works. The worst governed states keep electing Democrats because they're now whacked in poverty. Let's get the microphone up where we can use it. Okay. And the poor people, hey, you got to vote for us because the Republicans hate you. Wow. Well, the Republican states, they got jobs.
I got an email from a friend of mine I went to school with, staunch Democrat, and he just listed the unemployment back in such and such, and unemployment today was unemployment was that. He went down the whole thing, gross national product. He must have picked it up from somewhere because the guy is smart, but he's not that smart to figure these things all out. I said, oh geez, so I just deleted it. I didn't make any comments.
Oh yeah, well things are so much better since
Yeah. He said, and on the bottom says, I support Obama.
because he's going to support you. He's going to provide you with everything you need,
Well,
cradle to grave.
Well, what I found out is I made a comment about a Muslim in an email to him once, and he wrote back a scathing letter to me about being biased and all this other baloney. 6 months later, I see he's got on an email, he sends a picture of his daughter and son-in-law. His son-in-law is an Arab.
Could explain it.
Oh, God.
Could explain it.
I mean, other than that, the guy's a good guy, but he's...
Well, yeah, you know, we've got a lot of friends who've got wacko political views. Most of my friends have wacko political views.
And they had the same education that we did. What
I
was
know,
the
it's hard to
problem?
believe. I don't know, because we didn't pay attention, fortunately.
I guess. I guess. Or we learned about what they talked about, so we
Yeah.
understand there's another way, a better way.
Yeah. So anyway, so is there any hope for Amsterdam? We have to.
Well, yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
There is, because the train station is going to be a transportation hub with buses.
Yeah,
and
that's
cars.
right. It's an intramodal
It is, 'cause
transportation.
Just
system.
think of what it's like at Albany International Airport with taxis and buses coming and going throughout the day. That's what we're going to have. That's the last thing I heard when I left my
You're going to
vehicle.
put an airport downtown?
No, we don't need the airport.
Oh.
But we're going to have the train station, we're going to have the taxis down there and buses, which will take care of whatever needs the people have for transportation in Amsterdam.
Did you hear the radios today?
That's what I just heard before I walked in.
Yeah, but she said it's going to be 4 or 5 years before the egress from that bridge.
After they're going to remodel the bridge after they build it.
After the bridge is
Built.
built, then they're not going to have an egress. She didn't say in those words because
It's too big a word.
The guy wanted to know how they're going to get off that bridge.
Yeah.
And she double talked and said it's not going to be until they move the train station downtown.
Right.
And then they're going to have.
Going to be part of that
But
hub.
she also said it's not going to be done for 3 to 4 years.
That isn't, but the hub has been something they're thinking about moving on.
It's it's the second phase, and then there will be a third phase, a fourth phase.
And who's going to come up with the millions of dollars to move a train station that's already been abandoned by the I was going to say New York Central, by the Amtrak system?
They just spent a couple $100,000 repairing the train station.
It's not used, is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it open again?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. They, like I said,
You sure?
Yeah. They just spent a couple $100,000 repairing it, so the people are being comfortable. The people waiting, because it used to be cold in there.
Okay.
Not a single rider more will ride the train station if it moves downtown than gets on the train station in the West End where there's ample parking. And I can tell there's ample parking because there's only a handful of cars that are ever there, because that's all they need.
Occasionally that parking lot gets filled up. It depends on what's going on in New York. But
How many times a day does a train stop or slow down there?
I think twice.
Twice?
Each direction.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think twice in each
twice
direction.
in each?
Yeah, I think so. And not particularly convenient times.
No.
And let's face it, if they've been able to get along for the last 2 or 3 years by just having people get on the train and pay the conductor, what is the purpose of this train station?
They won't move it on their own. They will move it if somebody else pays.
Right.
Because,
Well, yes.
because if you build it, they're going to come.
Yeah.
Do you not
Now,
don't understand that
now,
concept?
guess what? We already have taxis downtown, or anywhere else you want them in town.
I think they've got another taxi service in town.
We
now.
have We have Brown's buses, we got Greyhound buses, we got Trailways buses, they all come in. And guess what?
Well,
They aren't running the schedules they used to, but they come downtown, they come to the mall, right? That's where they drop the buses. I saw a commuter bus get off last night when I was on my way to my charter commission meeting.
mm-hmm.
Good morning, Mrs. Going, how are you? All right, say hello to the guys.
She said hi. I
Okay.
said hi.
All right. All right. So if instead of parking in front of the mall, they now park at the new train station on Main Street or wherever it's going to be, that there's going to be more people riding them?
Well, they're all.
Used to go 6 times a day. The Adirondack Trailways went 6 times a day in both directions. Okay? They don't anymore. It's like twice each way now.
But you also have local bus service.
Yes. This will be good for, we'll only have to subsidize at $500,000 instead of $250,000. When is somebody going to say this is nuts? Other than me.
I think some other people have said that over the course of the last few years.
And in her mind, if you say this is nuts, then you're negative. You're against progress. You're against Amsterdam. You want everyone to die.
I forgot. The savior of the city is going to be the casino.
Which won't even be in the city.
No. Well, yeah.
In that case, Walmart should have saved the city, right?
Yeah.
That's not in the city either.
Yeah. But the $5 million I can't understand. The casinos bring in millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. The local government's only going to get 5 out of it. The state's going to get 50, 60 million. I don't understand that. The local people are the ones who are going to be footing the bill to maintain this place, the infrastructure, the highways, the water, the sewer,
The crime.
and the crime, and the police and the fire. But we're going to get the least of it. The majority of this place is going to be in the town, so most of the money is going to go to the town and the county.
Well, all the developable part of the land is in the town of Florida.
So we're going to get very little out of this except the
We're going to sell some water.
Sell some water, and you'll have some people employed.
Yeah.
It all depends on how many toilets they put in.
Yeah.
That's it. And really, seriously, that's it.
And they're not going to employ that many people from the city
Why?
because you have to pass drug tests
Yeah.
and you have to pass intelligent tests.
Yeah.
And
We have some intelligent people here.
yeah, we do, but they're all employed already.
No, you got some people who are not. You've got graduates who would like to come back here and find some sort of employment that pays a decent salary. And
I had a friend who
those
was
jobs-
a dealer in Las Vegas.
yes,
yeah.
Mr. List.
Yeah.
Geez, you have to mention his name.
Okay, I shouldn't have said that. Tim List. I wouldn't say Tim.
It wasn't Tim List. It was Dick.
List.
Tim runs a cab company in Florida. You'd think he'd come back up here, considering all the demand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe when the new train stations come, Tim List will come back.
There you go.
Is that the Dick List that used to work at the GE
It's the
back in the 60s, 50s?
Yeah, that's where Dad wasn't that
no,
where
it's the
Dad
Dick
worked?
List who's my age. So his father was
Yeah.
Dick List.
Yeah. They lived up on Sloan Avenue.
Yeah.
Sloan or Clark?
Sloan,
Sloan.
right around the corner from Clark.
Right. Right near
Around the
Cindy-
corner.
Right near
They're
Cindy.
on the
Right near
corner.
Cindy Dudak.
Yeah, the reason I asked. is
Cindy
when
Noble.
I- when I
Cindy's on
worked
the
at-
other side, and the Bialbucks were behind them. So.
When
That's
I
right.
worked at the GE, there was a Dick List that worked in one of the offices.
Was he bald?
Yes, I think he was.
Could be.
And he was from Amsterdam, so
No, could be.
Could be.
Could be. No. Yeah, he spent quite a few years out there dealing.
What a great guy. Oh, yeah. He was, God bless him, he was a character and a half. And always working an angle. Always working an angle. We were in high school, No, I wasn't. I don't even want to mention their name.
Okay.
We're not mentioning
But
their name.
this guy you were in high school
In
with.
other words, he's got a son who's a priest. God bless him. Was ordained by the Pope. Okay. All right.
Hey, the church does as much gambling as any other institution between their bingos and their Friday night smokers. Gambling in and of itself is not bad. It's just if you abuse it and do not use your money wisely. Go ahead, talk about the student we went to school with.
No, God bless him. That's all I say.
He was
I
a
don't
character.
think- I don't think that the casino is going to be the savior of the city. It's going to help the city. There's no doubt about it if we get it. But it's not going to be the
It's not going to be a landfill.
no, oh, definitely not. Oh,
But
God.
there's no one thing that is going to save the city. You need to have multiple
Yes.
I-
You can't put-
places in the community to have it be successful.
But-
you need to have more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not government's.
No, it's not
only
government's job.
government's job. They don't do it well. What the government has to do is produce the economic climate that makes
Allow.
it viable for people to do business here.
That's right. That's right.
If you can't make it viable for them to do business here, then it ain't going to happen. They're going to go somewhere else. Why would they invest their money here when they can actually make money, more money somewhere else and keep it?
Exactly. And that's the name of the game.
Keep your money.
If you're working your butt off day in and day out and just barely breaking even, you're not going to stay here. You're going to go somewhere where you can work your butt off day in and day out and have something to show for it at the end of the day, something to pass on to your children. That's the way I say. Okay. Economic climate here stinks.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing to make anybody happy here right now.
You make me happy.
Well,
Yes, there's us. There's the Three Musketeers. See, Curtis Penninger's on that committee too.
Yes, he
that's
is.
right.
Now, didn't she just fire him from his volunteer job as running the blinking light show downtown?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Curtis was running that, and she fired him from it. And then after she fired him, then the latest thing in April was about something that happened in December. Right?
Yeah.
And now it's shut down altogether, and they say there's some kind of
Glitch.
problem. This is another one of those things. This is another one of those things that Paul Tonko came up with out of his head.
Was that his idea?
Yes, it was entirely his idea. He designed it. He used a member item to put it up, and then walked into City Hall with a resolution saying that we were going to pay for the upkeep. You know, it was supposed to be done by the Waterfront Foundation, maintained by the Waterfront Foundation. They walked away from it, and it ended up in the mayor's office, and she screwed it up, as she does with everything.
Well, when I come off that bridge, I can't read what's on there.
Well, there's too much stuff going on. You got 6 sets of lights. You got the. By the way,
Yes, Bob?
What'd you do with the lights?
you made an observation when they were putting the new lights in around downtown on the
Yes.
imperial system.
Yes.
That all of a sudden, instead of being in the middle, the lights are on the far side, so that you may be actually coming up to the red light and find yourself in the middle of the intersection.
Yes, I did.
They corrected that.
Yeah.
Where? Which one?
If you come down Market Street, they've added a set of lights before the intersection. So now you've got a dual set of lights before and after the intersection.
At Guy Park?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
See?
And even on
Yeah.
Division, on
So they
West
must-
Main Street.
They must have found out.
the wizard engineers who designed that, someone must have.
They had 2 accidents.
You could
that's
have had a V8.
why. They had 2 accidents. That's why they
Yeah.
changed them.
Well, Gavin's observation was an obvious one. If you've got a red light, you go up to the red light and stop a few feet in front of it.
That's right. That's right.
And if you've got all this stuff, all this visual stuff going on, unless you know where you are,
That's right.
you're
You don't know.
gonna be confused.
Yeah.
Which is what I started. I had to get off on the sidetrack because I wanted to show you how bright you were.
That's why my dad called me Sonny.
But that, I mean, you are just overwhelmed at that East
Yeah.
Main Street intersection
Yeah.
at the mall, and that sign never belonged there because it's too much. I mean, it's nice you're waiting for a red light, you get to learn something, but sometimes, well, I mean, theoretically.
But
But it's too much. It's too much of a distraction.
it is, because when you come down, you look at it. By the time you focus on it, there's something there, and what did I miss?
Yeah.
You know,
And all
it
of a
just.
sudden the light changes, you got to move.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh.
I never
No.
liked it there. I never liked it there.
did they put a resolution in to authorize the stop sign at Coolidge and Van Dyke?
Coolidge and Van Dyke.
I don't remember an ordinance to that effect, but maybe not everything's reported in the paper.
Okay, because I slammed my brakes on the other day. Because all of a sudden,
It's on Van Dyke?
it's on right where Miller used to live. Fidulo lives there now. Right there.
But it's not on Coolidge, it's on Van Dyke.
It's on Van Dyke, and the other one's on the other side, coming both directions. Because there's never a stop sign there before, and all of a sudden there's one there now. And they did put back the one on Crescent and Locust
Yes, I saw that.
that they took out a few years ago, and they put that back. And I think I got some tire marks there too.
Well, that one they kept moving because it was at Austin for a while, wasn't it?
Is it Austin?
No, but I think they've moved it a couple of times, which makes it even more confusing.
Just saying.
Well, there's
There-
the way things change. There's on the south side of Guy Park Avenue between Studwell and Genevieve,
Yeah.
no parking, and there's no parking signs there. Cop came to my house this past winter wanting to know who owned the car that was parked overnight because of the snow. And I said, I think it's the guy in the corner. I said, but I don't know. I said, but there's cars parked here day and night. I said, with the no parking sign. Yeah, I said, I know. I said, well, why is that? He said, because we got orders from above not to put tickets on these cars.
Yes, that's another problem that we have here. The laws are selectively enforced
So,
by direction of the mayor.
well, he didn't say the mayor. He said
From above. From above.
That's above.
Well, I know of a case where there's a rule. There's a rule, not a rule. It's in the charter, I think, that water main break or the water line breaks to your house. If it's between the main and your lot line, the city pays for it. The city digs it up and fixes it. If the break is between your lot line and the house, you're responsible for it.
Yes.
That's yours. I'm told that the mayor is playing favorites, and that if it's somebody she likes, and the break is between the house and the lot line, the city she orders the city to go in and dig it up and fix it. Yeah. Yeah, which is actually
illegal.
illegal. It's more than illegal. Yeah.
That never got in the way of getting anything done in Amsterdam.
I mean, that's like, paving somebody's driveway, right?
Yeah.
Can't tell.
They've done that a few times,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
No one's ever been convicted. No one's ever been arrested.
Or charged.
Still, I think the greatest, one of the greatest political ads I've ever seen in this city. I just thought of one that was a little better, but the rumor was that an alderman or supervisor, I forget which, had his driveway paved by when the city paving was being done, and the ad this size from his opponent in the election: help drive away corruption. It probably cost him $20,
but it was worth it.
And, oh my God! He won. Yeah.
See, I had a nice article about noted presidential historian.
Yes, noted presidential historian David Petruccia will be the speaker at the
High school.
2000.
yeah, Mary was very impressed with his credentials.
Yeah.
Yes.
Holy cow, they didn't miss anything. Well, the only thing they missed is he was a guest several
It's
times
several times on the show with no name. Right.
Other than that, they,
Boy, what
they
a
seem
good
to-
guest he is too. I keep trying to get him to come.
He's
come
got a
down.
busy schedule.
Yeah,
got a busy
his busy schedule. Busy schedule. He's walking with the big boys now. So.
No, but he would be a good guest because he'd be able to talk about the national, international issues we're experiencing
Oh, yeah.
and how.
Yeah. And their historical context.
That's right.
But he's well versed on so many issues.
That's right.
I talk to him almost every day, and we just go on and on and on and on and on. Called me the other night. Hey, see what happened to Cantor in Virginia? I said, no, I haven't been paying attention to it. So,
That was,
Yeah, that was, and it wasn't. The guy didn't beat him;
wasn't
he thumped him.
thumped him.
Absolutely thumped him. And they had a thing on Fox.
$5 million to $100,000.
No, to about 40,000. Yeah.
It was they had a thing on Fox News the other night that Cantor spent $170,000 on steak dinners for.
Oh right, he spent more on steak dinners than the other guy spent on his whole campaign.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the people they interviewed said, you know what, he really hasn't been paying any attention to what's going on here in his district.
But here's what it is: you can, if you're the incumbent, especially if you've got a position like majority leader, and you're considered one of the up-and-comers, a future Speaker of the House, and all that stuff, you can get away with a lot of stuff. But when you take a major faction of the party and declare war on them while you're running for re-election and rub their noses in it,
Cause you problems.
it causes you problems. Now, he may not be a fan of the Tea Party people. When you say Tea Party, it's really a generic term because it's a lot of people with a lot of different opinions, but kind of, all focused in the same area. Those people, even if they're not your people, can be very valuable to you in an election, and you can make common cause with them on a lot of things. Okay? He went out of his way to become the principal speaker, I think, at this convention of Stop the Tea Party, funded by George Soros, one of the left-wing billionaire, And what was he thinking? Did he think that nobody would notice that he was there? How to stop the Tea Party? How to grind them into the earth and make sure they never rise again? What was he thinking of? They may have said, "What's the point? We're not going out and voting at this. He's going to win anyway." Well, once you do that, then you just
coalesce them.
Right. You said, people may not vote for you, but they'll go out of their way to vote against you.
Correct.
And that's what happened. And he had it coming. Honest to God, he had it coming. And apparently, not too many people are weeping over it. It seems he wasn't particularly well liked. There was I don't know if it was in the Post or the Daily News. So there was an article about, like the next day, about everybody hates Cantor after the election. It talked about why this group hates Cantor, that one hates him, why this one hates him.
All of a sudden, they all come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, but it was.
It was well done.
The point was well taken. Hey, you don't smack the people who might otherwise support you in a pinch. It's just crazy. Crazy stuff. Maybe lesson learned. But plus, he was out and out lying about his position on immigration. I stopped the Obama's amnesty. Baloney. He was promoting it, for God's sakes. You know, if you're going to take a position, take it. Right. If you think that that's the right thing for the country, get out there and say this is the right thing for the country. But don't tell the people at home, you're so stupid. I know that you'll believe me when I say this because I said it, even though I'm doing exactly the opposite, and there's all this record showing it.
Yepper.
Dumb.
He's got the same advisor as Obama's got.
That's right.
See, but Obama doesn't have to care because he's not running for re-election.
Another 3 years, Jesus.
Did they come to the house get your conservative signature on the petitions?
Not to my knowledge. No, I don't think so.
They came to my house. They had 3 of them, and
there's like 3 different primaries this year, so it's hard to keep track of all this.
There were 3 that became what's his name, Vroman and Amador and somebody else.
Well, Amador or no?
Yeah, no, Amador and Vroman. They're looking for the conservative endorsement.
Must be somebody running.
I forgot what the other one, the third one was.
Oh, Fisher maybe, Congress. Or no, we did that one already.
I only signed for Vroman.
Maybe must be one of the county positions open this year, isn't there? County clerk or something? I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know. You didn't get to the meeting. I had my charter commission meeting that night. Remember my charter commission? By the way, this just happens to be here from last week, but my book, Where Do We Find Such Men? Available at the Bookhound on Main Street, Old Peddler's Wagon at the 5 Corners, and Amazon, where they give me a good rate every once in a while.
You have to go to the Amazon to get it?
Not to the Amazon. No, Amazon.com.
Oh, okay.
The .com Amazon.
Because some of our soccer players could have picked it up for you down in the Amazon. They're playing one of their games in the middle of the Amazon.
Oh,
yeah, they are.
Have you sent one to Bush's Museum?
No, actually, I thought about sending one to George W. because he likes getting books. You know, Patricia used to send him his books.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'd send them to Karl Rove, and Karl Rove would read them and pass them on to the president. Then he gets these nice handwritten letters from the president of the United States. Really enjoyed your book, and then the president would be making remarks, and it'd be quoting an anecdote from one of Patricia's books. He said, most people don't realize that GW is an avid reader. You know, he reads a book a day. Yeah. His father wasn't much of a reader. 90-year-old. That's why I'll probably make a better president next time. So. 90. He'll be what, 92 in 2 years?
The mayor said that they asked her again about running for another term. And they asked her if she was eligible, and she didn't say yes or no. She just went on to tell what other guys ran for the 3rd term, and whoever she was talking to said, well, they were split up. They weren't, in succession, except for Gomulka.
DeChesney had 3 terms, didn't he? Or did he get beat running for his 3rd term?
I think he got beat the 3rd term.
Well, think about that. Yeah, I guess. I don't know, so many years have gone by. Yeah, Gomulka served 3 terms. Right? Gomulka was 65 the first time he ran. You know that? He was already...
Was he that old?
Yeah. And then served 3 terms. Finally had enough, and I don't think he lived a year after he was after his term got out. Maybe a couple.
I don't remember. This next one's going to be interesting. Who's going to run? The mayor wants to run again. Joe Emanuel, I guess, wants to run again. I have a feeling Pat Beck is going to want to run.
Yeah, well, she's got my vote.
Matter of fact, I think she made the statement at one time that she wouldn't run until
she retired.
After she retired. Then
she's retired.
So
she put off her retirement too long. That's the problem.
Yeah, her picture was in the paper the other day.
Yes, I
She's
saw that.
up at the park for the Veterans Pavilion at the ballpark.
That's quite a pavilion. That's pretty big.
Yeah, Veterans Deck.
And where's that?
Up at the Shuttleworth.
Oh, yeah.
She was up there for that.
The seating capacity up there is just amazing. And I don't know where they keep finding room, but it just stretches out and stretches out. The new Veterans thing is really, really nice. Got a wheelchair ramp, so you can get your veteran up there, and I think on Tuesday nights they get in
Military
free and
Tuesday. Military
get
Tuesday.
fed.
They got to build a parking lot up there somewhere. They're running out of parking.
Yeah.
That opening night, there was parking on the road only.
Yeah, they haven't really developed that land that Marty Milano gave them off of Crescent Street on the far side of the creek. But that's an area. Well, you just gotta. People walk from all over that neighborhood.
You know what you could do, Bob?
What's that?
Bus them.
Could bus them.
Park down here at the mall and bus them up.
Well,
Right from that transportation hub.
Well, if they take the train into that's right. If they take the train into the city,
They could bus take a taxi.
but will they have time to both walk across the overlook and the overlook
Well.
of nothing?
Yeah, that would.
I got to get down. I've been meaning to get down there and get a picture
Of the view?
of the view and compare it to the one that Dave Stahl took of the Hudson, looking down the Hudson. Oh man,
I talked to a couple people that went across the one in Poughkeepsie, and they were impressed with it.
it's very impressive. That section of the Hudson Valley is just gorgeous.
They took their 2 kids on bicycle rides. They went across to come back, and they really loved it.
Can you
But
bike? Will you be able to bike across this one?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
But the one down there is, it's probably 2 miles long when you're from one end to the other.
Do you have to go up to get on it to go over, or is it at land level?
Seems to be pretty high up, so I think it starts on high banks on both sides.
Yeah.
That Hudson Valley is
Old railroad
fantastic.
bridge. That's what it is.
Is that what that one was?
Yeah. You just put a deck on it. I don't know if they made it wider or whether it
What was it?
was a railroad.
Oh, it's a
bridge.
railroad bridge. Yeah. Yeah.
Well-
If you've already got a bridge, why not? Huh? If you don't already got a bridge, what the hell are you doing?
Build one.
Yeah. You can do
I don't know
it.
if I told you my daughter wanted to know why do they call it the Overlook? Why don't they call it a bridge?
Because
I said,
nobody wanted to hear a bridge to nowhere.
I said, because it's not a bridge. I said, you can't get off at one end. She said, what do you mean you can't get off? I said, it only goes one way. I said, then you got to turn around and go back. She said, how dumb is that? She said, the people in Amsterdam are stupid. I said,
What?
Well, not all of us, Lori.
But when that was brought up, how much more would it have taken to figure out, let's do a little architectural readjustment here, and you can get off at both ends?
I asked the guy at that meeting, and he said, no, he says, it doesn't, there's no egress on the north side. He says, you're gonna have to figure out how to get off.
Yeah.
If you wanna make an exit there, you gotta figure out how to do it, and you gotta raise the money. I says, we've gotta raise the money. He said, yeah, it's your bridge.
Cargo net.
There you go.
Cargo
Well,
net.
I think the plan is to get it to the ground. It's just once you're on the ground, where do you go from there?
You're supposed to go to the Riverlink Park.
Yeah. Well, you can cross. You can do that. You can, cross lots to get there. But even that, that's a fair walk from the Riverlink Park.
Yeah. And if you see where it ends on West Main Street there, it looks like it's a couple hundred feet from West Main Street Road, so there's not a lot of room to build a ramp to get off there.
You can put a ramp on the east side, parallel to the tracks.
Well, I like that caller's idea the other day. We'll just tear down the highway bridge to improve the view. So it's a natural outcrop. You know.
No,
Nobody really wants to drive to the south side of the thruway anyway. So.
Uh-huh.
boy.
That'll be phase 3.
Or 4.
Without the even with the train station, they have to get over the highway ramp. They have to abandon the ramp to get on the highway bridge in order to get over where she wants to get it over.
I don't know where she would put the train station down there.
Well, that's
where would it go?
Yeah, that's a good question. I assumed it would be at the terminus of the new pedestrian bridge, but not necessarily.
There's no room really.
But then
if you put it where it was,
then you've got to make a traffic lane over the tracks.
Right, which you can't do.
They don't want to do that.
Well, you can't do that.
Put a channel.
They said they can't do that.
Oh.
I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see.
The reason the old bridge was abandoned was because they changed the rules on how low a bridge could be over the railroad tracks.
It was too low.
And it couldn't work. Okay? You couldn't do it. The dumb kid that I was, I said, why don't you lower the tracks? Why don't you lower the tracks 6 feet? Dumb.
Yeah, but you were a kid.
I was a kid. What did I know?
These guys are architects. They're
Engineers.
engineers.
Engineers who don't know where to put in lights on intersections. You think you got the smartest guys in the world working on these things, but they are the bureaucracy is so rigid. I'll give you a perfect example of this. Because it involved, I think a couple of kids got killed. At least one was killed. I think 2 got killed. Walking across
by City Hall.
By City
bridge.
Hall. Mm-hmm. All right. They built that new bridge to connect Market Street with Church Street.
Right.
And did not put a sidewalk in.
Put a sidewalk.
Right.
All right. Now I was involved in the trial of that issue in the State Court of Claims. I think I may have still been in law school at the time, but I was working for Vince Vicinanzo that summer, and so I sat in on the whole trial. And the state's engineer gets up and says, "Why did you not put a sidewalk there?" Because our protocol is that we only replace sidewalks where there is an existing sidewalk.
And it's new, so it's not, so they didn't.
And it's a new connection, so there was no reason to put a sidewalk in. And that was it.
That was the argument?
That was the be-all and the end-all, because it's in our manual that you don't replace a sidewalk.
You don't put one in unless you're replacing.
But the point of the trial was to show that by creating the bridge, they created the pedestrian traffic because the people who used to go all the way up to Prospect Street and up that hill now had a shortcut to Market Hill.
Mm-hmm. Did they win?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. But that's the way they think. It's it's in the manual. That's it. So it's in the manual. When you put these lights up, you put them out, you now put them on the other side of the intersection. That's the same thing.
That's like
we went through the whole thing with the traffic circles, and then first the traffic circles are the right thing to do, then the traffic circles are the wrong thing to do. Now this week they're the right thing to do again, and it's the same bureaucracy at work here.
Sometimes.
Well, they were either right the first time or they were wrong the first time, and right the second time or wrong the second time.
But unless you're building new things, you're not spending public
that's
money.
Right. That's what
You've got to have a justification.
That's right. In the immortal words of Mel Brooks, we got to protect our phony baloney jobs.
That's right. Absolutely, they do. You have to create.
It's like the story where the tractor trailer got stuck under the bridge, got jammed under the bridge, and they couldn't figure out how to get it out. They didn't want to raise the bridge. They didn't want.
Took the air out of the tires.
Some kid came along and says, "Take the air out of
Yeah.
the tires," and
Yeah.
he backed it up.
There you go. You just need a fresh perspective on things from a non-involved individual.
Yeah.
Just take a look and say, oh, you know, you're right though. They overlook the obvious because they're so focused.
Yeah, well, they're
Can't see the
focused.
forest for the trees.
Yeah, they got to look at the engineering aspect of it.
So the practicality of it.
And the mayor will attack the mall project, right? As, oh, those dumb old boys who put the mall in the middle of the street, right?
That was a successful operation there for 25 years.
My point is exactly the same mentality that did that is the mentality that's built the bridge. You hear the same arguments. It's progress. If you're against it, get out of town.
Yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
Right or wrong.
Yeah.
So if she thinks she's any different from that mentality, that she isn't. It's exactly the same thing. If you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. All right. That was
By using that logic, then why was she so against the landfill?
because it didn't fit her vision. Why was she against having the pool hall on Main Street? The only business that's actually doing anything down there.
And now she thinks it's a great place now.
Yeah.
You can't hardly
new ownership now.
drive down there on Friday and Saturday evenings.
Good.
That place is packed, and I hear nothing but good stuff about it.
There's a club there too, upstairs from the Book Hound or next to the Book Hound.
Yeah.
Shikara Club up there.
Yeah.
Great.
In cleaning the house out here, I came across the "What's Wrong with Amsterdam" thing from the '40s. So
Yeah.
I got to dig that out for the radio show. We got to do that again.
Yeah, 'cause we haven't done that on the radio. We've only done it
No,
on
we've
this.
never done it on the radio. We only did it on the podcast, and then we didn't even have the complete
whole thing.
podcast. We only had excerpts.
Yeah.
In your research, was it true that GM and Ford wanted to come into this area back in the 40s?
Well, I don't think it was the 40s. I think it was in the earlier days.
The earlier 30s.
But they were discouraged from coming. I don't know if it's true or not.
Coca-Cola wanted to come here. I remember that. They wanted to be out by Edson Street there. They wanted to put a plant, and they asked for a pilot, and they were turned down, and they went someplace else.
Well, we had a Pepsi plant for years. Why did they move out? Did they sell out?
I don't know. Who knows why anybody comes and goes? I don't know.
We had 3 or 4
Bottling
soda
plants.
bottling companies.
Sure.
Had a brewery.
Fitzgerald's.
Yeah.
Where was Fitzgerald?
Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald's was on Lower East Main, was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. That's
And there was also one like on Forbes Street, wasn't there?
No, it was the street. Was it Forbes? What's the next street up from Main Street?
Yeah,
Forbes.
That was Forbes.
Yeah,
Forbes
that's where the convent
That
used to
was-
be.
Oh, yeah, Lower Forbes.
And then there was Famous on Carmichael, not Carmichael, Gardner.
Really?
Yeah, back Tony D'Amato's store.
Where are all
Famous-
those places?
Famous soda.
Where do you find such places?
Where do you find such
Not here.
breweries?
Yeah.
Then on the west end there was a brewery.
Big brewery.
Yeah.
Bowler's Brewery. Wow. Hey, did you see the picture I found of St. Mary's 1904 or whatever the heck it
Graduating
was?
class, yes. And Hugh Dallin was in that?
Yeah. It's a good thing I remember these things because the pictures really suffered in my attic from rain damage and such when I had a roof leak.
But it came
And
out
you
real
can
clear.
barely read some of the stuff on the names on the back. But I haven't seen that picture in years and years and years and years, but I remembered where Donlin was in the picture, and that's how I was able to. and I remembered him looking really mature, with a bow tie and kind of stern looking, and he was a kid. He was like 8th grade or something in this picture, because the whole group looks like it only goes from maybe 3rd or 4th grade to 8th grade.
Yeah.
It's not the whole school. It's not the high school. But in those days, most everybody dropped out after 8th grade.
We needed an 8th grade.
You're lucky if they went to 6th.
Everything you needed to learn in life was in 3rd grade.
And then I realized there was my grandfather in the front row, which is how I happened to have the picture in the first place. And he looks like he's only like 4th grade in that picture. That's how I was able to kind of date it. He was born in 1896, so if he's 9 or 10, it's like 1905. Yeah. Wow. Hugh Donlin was older than him. That's amazing. 'Cause he lived a long life.
He lived right to the end.
Yes, he did. He had to have been in his 90s when he died, I think. He had to be.
It's interesting when the recorder puts in his columns to read. I mean, he takes such a small experience and just builds on it.
Yeah.
And
he could write about anything.
he could, and it with such importance.
Right.
Though his tongue is in both cheeks at the same time sometimes.
Right, like all the time. Yeah. Yeah, so it's the rare serious piece in that column. I found one that I passed on to Peter Smealy one time, and it's about his grandfather, J. Donald Smealy. You remember J. Donald? Ran Smealy and Voorhees paper company.
On Forest Avenue?
On Forest Avenue. And, he was still around when we were kids, had the big house on Grant Avenue.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is back in the 30s. Or maybe 41 at the latest. J. Donald, goes into his barber shop on Railroad Street near the Recorder. And he says, can you do my hair real quick, because I need to get out of here, like 10 minutes. He said, yeah, come on in. He does so he gets his hair cut, and then very happy, pays the guy, and he says, what's the hurry, Mr. Smealy? He says, any longer I'd have to put another penny in the meter. It's one of the richest men in town.
Yeah, the guy could afford it.
Because you only got 12 minutes on a penny in those days, remember?
The barber shop on Railroad Street, that was Pee Wee's.
That may have been. Yeah.
Down in the basement there.
Wow.
The number of businesses that were in the downtown section is.
Yeah, someday I'll bring my 67 city directory, and we'll go through that just before urban renewal, and it's heartbreaking, really. What a thriving! I mean, you remember the stores, of course. But you don't.
Offices.
But there were the offices, the metal, the dentist on the 3rd floor walk up, and the eye doctor.
Val Webb had his photography
Val
studio.
Webb's photography studio,
Yeah,
and then you had all the side streets. We were talking this morning on Facebook. Joni Pertel was talking about going to see her father as a kid working at the A&P down on. Down by the Recorder there. We figure
Washington.
what? No, it was one of those side streets. But you had the Mohegan Market and Castler's, and you had Empire, and the A&P, all within a 2 or 3 block area. Is that my dog snoring?
Yeah.
And all kinds of. You had WAFS was downtown when we were kids. The radio,
That's right, upstairs.
Radio station.
Yeah.
Down there, all the stuff in the bank building. You had barbers all over the place.
Pharmacies.
Beauty salons. Pharmacies. Every block. Pharmacy on every block. Sometimes 2. Yeah. Boy. You name it, that was there. You want to play pool, you go to the pool hall. You know.
It was like a mall, but on the street.
You want dirty magazines, you go to the bus station.
Police Inquirer. Go back there and read the papers while you're waiting for the bus after school.
I had a shoe shine stand in the bus station.
You did?
Yep.
Did you have to pay for space or what?
Pardon?
Did you have to pay for the space?
The guy I worked for paid for the space. Yeah, we had chairs in there.
Mhm.
Used to scare the hell out
It
of me.
was
though.
dark.
'Cause I was a kid. I used to come down from Gloversville, and I'd go in there, and these high school kids would come in, and 16, 17-year-old kids, and I'm probably 13.
Yeah.
It was dark back in there.
It was.
Oh, that was a miserable
Yeah.
place.
Oh,
Yeah.
you get back
Yeah.
there, it's like,
It was scary.
that's why you.
You know what? You know what sold the mall to the public
To get rid of.
was that there would be clean bathrooms downtown. I'm serious. That's what sold it, because the only bathrooms downtown
We're in the waiting room.
were in the waiting room, and they were god awful. They were like something out of medieval Europe or something.
They smelled terrible.
Yeah, I could still smell them. Jeepers. Yeah. Remember when, I think when I was a junior, Father Ainati taught this marriage preparation course.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Memorable. Memorable. I ran into him at a wake one time, and the lady says to me, "Do you know Father Ainati?" I said, "Yeah, he taught me everything I know about sex." But I remember kind of late in the year, he says to us, in addition to the course materials we have here, you should all go out and get some good books about marriage, to supplement this stuff. I said, "Father, you mean like the kind they have down at the bus station?" No, not those, no.
What I remember most about that class were the mimeograph diagrams he passed out.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
What is this?
Oh,
yeah.
holy mackerel.
Yeah, well, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
I guess.
Oh,
yeah,
my God.
Iggy.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Well, let's face it. It's kind of an embarrassing subject, no matter how old you are, right? But when you're talking to a mixed group of a co-ed group of high school juniors
At a Catholic school.
it was rough.
Yeah.
I remember one of my classmates, who I won't embarrass by naming him.
You work in Vegas?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't list. He says, Father, this kind of reminds me of the model airplane kit I used to have. Insert rod A in the slot C.
No, yeah.
Oh my God. Oh. I didn't come here to entertain, or to be entertained.
I bet the stories when they were sitting around after school, sipping a scotch with Father Gustus in the back room must have been precious. Talking about the things that the kids say the darndest things.
Yeah.
Especially at Catholic school.
Oh my God. And he had these, of course, it was a cutting edge of technology. He had these long play albums of this marriage expert.
Oh.
And the most monotone. And today we're going to talk about how to make love to your wife. Oh dear God!
They made it sound like that. Nobody wanted to do it. That was their intent.
It's like, boy, this has got to be the most boring thing. But it's important that we learn the details. Can you hold the details for another time, Father? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You mind if we just go back in the gutter like we used to? Jeez. Oh.
Yipper.
Yeah.
But without
I
Catholic.
remember, I won't name names, but the gunner when I was a kid was this really advanced 12-year-old on Wall Street thought he knew everything. Looking back, his explanations of things lacked a little polish, but
got the point. Got your attention.
You do what?
Got your attention.
What?
Oh.
First kid I knew who smoked. Yeah, he's still in town too. That's why I'm not mentioning his name. Oh, jeez. Get us back in the gutter, Father, please. Boy, we had Father Barry as a sophomore. He was still around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And who did we have Father Ainati again senior year? Did we have him for 2 years? I don't remember senior religion.
We had Father Cotugno.
Father
Joe
was freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it was Iggy was sophomore or junior year.
I had him junior year, but you might have had him sophomore year because Father Barry left after sophomore year, I think. I don't think he was around past that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Do you?
Father Cotugno was really interesting. He had.
He was young.
And he was really young. He was only 25 when he was ordained.
Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to practically live in our house. What a great man, really. Politically, he and my father could not add 2 and 2. I mean, they'd agree. I mean, they were as opposite as could be. And he would come over to my house and they'd argue for hours. He'd stay for dinner and they'd argue and argue and argue. And as soon as Father Cotugno left, my father would say, I respect that man more and more every time I see him. But he was at the cutting edge of biblical scholarship and things like that. And we were seeing, aspects of the Bible and Hebrew cosmology and things like that we may never have otherwise been exposed to.
We would never have been.
And it was good. We had the Seder, the Jewish Seder, the Passover Seder in class. And I do remember when we were seniors, we had the comparative religion thing, where the different, the different pastors and such would come to the school, and I remember Rabbi Bloom came and discussed the various aspects of Judaism, and there was a minister from the Southside Reformed Church who came. Calvary
Reformed. Is that what it was?
And they would, here's what we believe. Here's where we disagree with you, and this, and it was respectful. It was
more interesting than some of the ones.
It was respectful. It was interesting, and it was intelligently done. And I decided I didn't want to be any of them. I stayed where I was.
Do you remember when we were at St. Mary's, and 4 of the leaders of your class got caught going into the girls' bathroom down by the cafeteria? I don't know who. I don't remember the names of the leaders, but I remember that being a big to-do.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh.
What happened?
Oh, there was a whole lot of shaking going on down there. Yeah, they got.
Who was principal at the time?
Who was principal? We were in. It was the year we were in a double class. When we were in 4th and 5th grade, they went in.
Oh, that's long ago.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
We were at St. Mary's. We were in a double class, and 4 of your compadres, they were in the girls' bathroom down by the cafeteria at lunchtime, and they had quite a comeuppance. You
Don't
got
remember
quite
it at all.
Quite
Obviously,
a dressing down. You were not one.
Obviously, that was one of those capers I was not involved in.
You were not involved in that. No. But there are a couple of hill hoods.
I do remember. I think maybe 7th grade or so. Yeah, it must have been. It must have been because the 2 rooms were across the hall from each other. 7th grade, one of the nuns was cleaning up after school and found some hand-drawn dirty pictures.
Oh.
And the next day, the class was divided between boys and girls. The girls all went to the one classroom, the boys all went to the other. And we were all given stern lectures.
About dirty.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, sister. Can we see the pictures, please? Maybe we can figure out who did them.
You recognize the artwork. Well, they were probably poorly drawn because we didn't have art when we were at St. Mary's.
As a matter of fact, they were exceptionally well drawn.
They were probably those little booklets that you
No.
could buy.
No. These were
Really?
drawn by one of the students and exceptionally well done.
That's what made it recognizable as being dirty.
And they never found out, but it was one of the girls. Yeah. And I think they presumed otherwise.
Well, girls wouldn't do that.
They presumed otherwise, and
It had to be the boys.
Turned out it was one of the girls. And girls, if you ever come across a boy who shows you one of these things, we'll have to talk about that at the class reunion in August. I want to find out actually what was said to the girls at that point, because I know who did it. I don't know why I know who did it. Everybody knew who did it except the nuns. I don't know actually whether it was a nun talked to the boys or whether it was Father Hartley came up. I forget.
Oh.
Wow.
No.
But things are different.
Kids are kids. Kids are kids.
That's right. You gotta
Kids
know
are
what's going
kids.
on.
That's right.
But I admire the discipline of the Catholic schools and the fact that they would get upset about things like that. And it is something worth talking about when you're 13 years old,
Gotta have the talk.
Yeah, respect,
You guys were lucky you had the talk.
respect the other sex.
But they talked to your kids about it in school. We didn't get that in
They do now. They get that in...
First I kiss my wife on the lips, and then if we're really enthused, I might insert a little tongue. Next class. Oh dear God! I remember Chris Mancini being so embarrassed by the whole thing. She was just turning purple. Oh dear God!
Yeah, well, we were mixed classes.
Oh.
And you had those good Catholic girls and those ignorant Catholic boys and
the girls probably knew more than the boys did.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this before, but you remember the big scandal? I think I was probably when I was a freshman. You were in 8th grade when one of the football players got caught with the liquor on him.
Yep.
Now, were you part of the assembly that was called?
We all were.
Yeah, well,
I'm thinking.
I'm thinking from 7th grade up.
7th grade up. Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't remember whether the junior high kids were involved too, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what happens is the kid gets hurt in the first half of the football game, goes to the hospital. He's got minor concussion.
This is the first year we had football.
Yeah, last year of St. Mary's and the first year of football because they wanted to start a year before Scully opened. And so they had, instead of blue and white uniforms, they had green uniforms. Anyway, kid goes to the hospital and they find the alcohol on his breath. Oh. So they search the bus, the team bus, while the game is still going on, and find the bottle, which was in somebody else's bag, And so they start investigating, and 3 kids are found to have consumed alcohol on the team bus on the way to the game.
On the way to the game.
All right. And we're not talking much. I mean, they just took a swig apiece. So they basically, hey, I got to buy, ooh, right?
Yeah.
Ooh,
So they call the school assembly, as I say, 7th grade up. We did not sit down. We were all standing in the auditorium at the school, and they brought the 3 guys up on
the
stage.
Really?
Lined them up, explained what the offense was and what the punishment would be, and they were all banned from all sports for a full year.
Wow.
they were
as punishment.
humiliation.
And at least one of these guys was a senior and had to give up baseball and everything else. Yeah, the whole group. And they took it. They all stood there and they took it and they all stayed in the school. They could have gone somewhere else.
Could have gone to high school.
And whatever. And they did. And that was the example that was being set, and they were laying the law down, and that's it.
That's what's going to happen if you get
I think they accepted the fact that the guys were sorry, and but the punishment was going to be the punishment. And as I say, they all stood there and took it. They were lined up right on the stage. Now, the best part of the story, there's
now the rest of the story.
There's converse parts of the story. Okay, one is there was a guy who bragged about getting away with it.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
And he was basically ostracized by everybody else
because he didn't have the balls to stand up.
Because he didn't have the. But another guy, as soon as that ceremony was over, everybody's dismissed, and he stayed behind, and he walked up to Father Hartley, and he said, "Father, I took a sip of that bottle too, and I should be punished the same as the others." And that's character. The other 3 were caught.
Yeah.
He was not caught,
and he owned up.
Owned up and was banned from sports for the rest of the year.
Wow.
That's character.
And because they had character, they ostracized the guy who didn't have the.
Yeah. And I still looked at that as a great example of my parochial school training, because similarly, if something like that did happen in the high school when they were playing for a state championship game, and the guy on the team was arrested for a DWI and convicted, and no, we can't bench him. We need him.
Yeah.
No, I mean Dutch would not tolerate that for a second.
I remember Dutch's office was downstairs,
right
near the cafeteria, but
right behind the girls' room.
Yeah, good place.
By the famous girls' room you just spoke of.
Yes. And he had outside his office on a piece of paper, he had the diets these guys were supposed to follow, during basketball season for game day, what they were supposed, the time they had to be in, because they used to call, make sure you're in, and he'd have tea up there, no soda. He had everything listed, and they were expected to follow that game plan and that meal plan that he had up there.
We used to have dances every Friday night at the school, right?
Sock hop.
And the dances went till 11 o'clock. They were like 8 to 11. And the athletes had to leave at 10 and go straight home, right?
They had to be home by 11.
10, 15, they had to be home by 10:15, I think.
7 start call?
Oh, it was really close, yeah. You leave at 10 and you go straight home. And Dutch would chaperone those dances to see who was there, first of all, and while the dance is going on, he'd be down in his office on his phone calling every one of those houses to make sure the guys got home.
Wow.
And if you didn't, you're off.
You didn't answer the phone.
You're off the team, and that's it.
Yeah, he was.
It didn't care whether you were the star of the team or not. Those are the rules, and you follow them.
See, and what was good about that was now those girls were freed up to dance with us other guys.
Well, that's
for
right.
the last
it was the
hour.
only chance
we
had.
had.
It wasn't till 10. We couldn't wait till 10 o'clock. We
That's
couldn't
right.
wait till 10 o'clock because otherwise the girls are going, oh, he plays basketball.
Yeah.
Oh.
10 o'clock on, we had a shot.
We had a shot.
Yes, we did.
Not much, but
we had a shot.
What little shot there was, we took advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, I did plenty of dancing
Into that
between
last
10 and
hour.
11.
You're welcome home after.
Yeah, and we got to walk them home after.
That's right. We didn't have a curfew.
And people wonder why I didn't play sports.
we had that. We got the extra hour.
And you guys thought you were so
They used to throw the sawdust down on the floor, on the gym court. So you could have your shoes on.
Right.
Yeah.
There. But what shoes could you not wear at St. Mary's?
You couldn't wear loafers, right?
No, they were okay. What couldn't you wear?
Sneakers?
No. The what do you call them?
The cords with you couldn't wear your cordovan that had the taps on the back.
Oh, the.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't wear those.
Yeah. Those would eat the floor alive.
Oh, down at St. Mary's, you couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, that was mortal sin.
Well, and they were very popular at the time, and you had the stone floors at St.
Yep,
Mary's.
and you could hear you clicking.
My God, Fred Astaire never hit so many clicks as.
Yeah, and the guys used to wear those because they would save the heels.
Yeah.
But you couldn't wear them to school.
Yeah.
As a member.
What did you call them?
Taps.
Taps.
Cordovans, the cords.
Okay, cordovans. Yeah.
I remember the day my father took me to St. Mary's to register for kindergarten. We came in the front door, and the office had those huge windows. Whoa, they had those big windows in there. I remember walking in, I'm like, wow. And he had us sit outside next to the secretary. Then he called us in. We had the part here, but he had a little office on the left-hand side. We had to go and had us sit down, and he asked your name, and you had to tell him what your name was and everything, and do you know where you live? That took me a minute to remember where I lived, give them the right address. And they had everything there, but they're checking.
They're testing you.
They're testing us, And I remember, there was never a question where I was going to go to school. That's where I was going to go to school. My parents went to St. Mary's. I was going to go to St. Mary's school. It was no big deal. All the kids in our neighborhood, the Meineke's and Miner and Powers and Stewart, they all went to the public school, but this is where I was going to go. I never even thought during the 13 years that I'd go anyplace else. It's just what we did. It was just part of it.
Joseph.
They did for a while. Then they went to high school. They didn't go to St. Mary's.
Those are my nephews.
Yeah, Gus and Jim.
Yeah.
And
Mickey. Mickey.
Their daughter. Yeah. But everybody knew where you were going to go.
We moved here. I say back here really because this is our hometown, but in 1960, summer of 1960, August 15th, 1960, as a matter of fact. And one of the first things we did is I'd been to public school now through third grade at that point. Elsewhere. Because there was no Catholic school. They built it just as I would have entered it. So I was going to go to Catholic school one way or the other, but we came back here and we all had to go down to the convent to meet with Sister Isidore, who was the vice principal in charge, the executive vice principal. And we'd hardly ever seen a nun before. And there were four of us about to enter because my brother Timmy, I think, was going into kindergarten. So the four of us, we get all dressed up. We had our suits and ties on, and the nun answers the door and has us sit in this sitting room not too far inside the front door of the convent. Those big dark places.
Oh, yeah.
And my father says, "Now, when Sister Isidore comes in, you stand right up and say, 'Good afternoon, Sister.'" Yeah. And Sister Isidore walks in. "Good afternoon, Sister. Good afternoon, boys and girls. You may be seated. Yeah. Boys and girl.
Girl.
And we had to, at least we were under the impression that we had to pass the approval. Yeah, you know, we weren't just going to get into St. Mary's. We had to meet with their approval. You know, well, I've decided that, you know, you children may attend St. Mary's. So thank you, sister. Thank you, sister.
How old is your brother Tim?
How old is he now?
Yeah.
Well, he's born at 54, so he'll be 60 this year.
Okay.
He will be 60. 17th of August. It was probably around his birthday, yeah. Oh, so he must have been past kindergarten. He was going into first grade. He was going into first grade. Yeah, because he had a sister, Mary Concepta, and Dale had sister Crescentia Joseph.
I had sister Crescentia Joseph.
Yeah.
Boy.
But boy, that was. It's not that it was scary, but it was
intimidating,
awe-inspiring. Really, I mean,
okay.
it's like you are in a very special place here, and you know, and looking back on it, I was like the 46th kid in my homeroom. Okay, so it's not like they had a lot of room for us. It was mobbed.
You went to St. Mary's Parish too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You remember how much it cost you to go to school?
Cost nothing.
That's right.
Cost nothing, and if you went to another parish, it cost you $50 a year.
Right, and I think when we went to Scully, it was $75 a year.
It wasn't much. It wasn't much.
But St. Mary's was free.
I don't think it went more than 100 ever.
I think maybe $1.25 when I was senior,
Yeah.
but it was nothing. But St. Mary's, it was, you know, kids from other parishes paid, but we didn't. 'Cause I remember they used to collect. They had an envelope they had to turn in, like once a month or something. The kids from the other parishes who went to
Right.
St. Mary's to pay. Of all the nuns, without a doubt, the most conservative was Sister Crescentia Joseph. I mean, she was conservative.
You don't mean this in the Goldwater sense?
No, just a sense of morality. Women
Second grade?
Oh yeah. Oh, women were not supposed to be wearing slacks or
Oh.
shorts.
Wow.
Absolutely not. They were to wear dresses. You were not to go out dressed up on Halloween. That is not something good Catholic kids do.
You dress as a saint.
It's just yeah.
Yeah, they did that.
But she was very, very conservative.
And you didn't chew gum.
What are you nuts? Chew gum?
Wait, holy mackerel! That was beyond mortal.
Oh, man, it was a big deal when the cafeteria wasn't really big at St. Mary's. If you bought your lunch, you could go to the cafeteria. But if you brought your lunch, you ate in the classroom
That's
with
right, you ate
sister.
in the classroom,
With
that's
sister.
right, yeah.
And my cousin, Jack Armstrong, who lived up on Locust Ave next to Burz's, he'd come around with this tray, and they'd have candy in there. You could get, you know, a nickel bag or a dime bag of potato chips or a nickel box of
potatoes. Make sure you
potato chips. Yeah.
When you're saying nickel bag, you're just
Yeah, that's right.
a bag of potato chips that cost you 5 cents.
Yes, that's right.
All right.
Or a dime bag costs you 10 cents.
That's it.
And then you have a tray of candy, and you could, you know, get a candy bar or something to eat afterwards. But he'd come around, and but I don't think I bought a school lunch until like 3rd grade. My parents always gave me a bag lunch.
I don't think I bought one until I was in 7th or 8th grade, probably.
Yeah, I didn't have to go down it because that was dark too. The cafeteria wasn't really well.
Well, it was in the basement.
Yeah. And you had all the Armstrong ladies there.
The Armstrong ladies.
Cooking. And Mrs. Schechten.
And Mrs. Schechten, and there was a 4th one too. Was Miss? I can picture. I can't think of her name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah. And the Armstrong ladies, in addition to being Mrs. Armstrongs, were also sisters because they were both Kylies.
Right, and they were married to brothers.
They were married to brothers.
Twins? Twins? Were they twins?
No, neither were twins.
None of the 4 were twins? No, they were
No.
just brothers and brothers. Brothers married sisters.
Eileen, the older Mrs. Armstrong, was married the same day as my Aunt Marie at St. Mary's, August 17th, 1940. Yeah. I came across my Aunt Marie's wedding picture.
That's how you
last
remember
week,
that,
so
yeah.
that's why it happens to be fresh in my mind. And then their other sister, Mary John McKern, who was my father's second cousin. Okay, so the McKerns and the Armstrongs were related, and I'm related to the McKerns.
And I'm related to the Armstrongs.
When Mary McKern was a senior in 1961, she was related to everybody in the school. She had her two aunts on her mother's side in the cafeteria. Her uncle on the McKern side was a custodian, Jim McKern. My mother was married to a second cousin, was her English teacher. She had at least something like 8 first cousins in the school, and about 100 second cousins, and even more third cousins. I was a third cousin. Wow. Oh, and Mrs. Hugo worked there.
That's the other
who
one.
Who was her aunt on her father's side.
Yeah, that's the other lady who worked there.
Right. But that's not who I was thinking of. There was yet another one, but probably came later. Yeah. Mrs. Hugo and the two
Armstrongs.
The two Armstrongs were all her aunts. Wow. Yeah, those are the days. Yeah, because I told the Donnie Hugo story, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I must not have told that on the air. I wouldn't have. Did I? Well, never mind. Doesn't matter.
We can say that.
Anyway, it's pushing 12, so I think we've done enough for today.
I think
Yeah.
so.
We've put off the Charter Commission for a couple of weeks, mostly because I'm going on vacation, but also because we want to see what the Common Council is going to pass a local law or not. If they don't, we're going home. So.
When are you leaving for vacation?
Well, I'll be here Tuesday. I'll be around for the show Tuesday. I think we may have Philip coming in Tuesday.
Regent's exams start on Tuesday, so he may not have an exam.
I think he was planning on coming on Tuesday.
Okay. Because classes, last day is classes at the for the middle school and the high school formally are on Monday.
But you gave him permission to skip school anyway.
I gave him permission to come down. It's a historical opportunity, and Mr. Palzak certainly would allow that to happen. And we have to wish good luck to the runners who are down in North Carolina.
Right, having conquered the state, they're going on to the nationals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Terrific.
So yeah,
terrific. Including Mr. Druzjak's kid, who regularly calls us from obscure areas on the fringe of our listening to say, I can hear you in Scaticoke.
Yeah. Andrew's good. He played soccer with me. Good soccer player too. Yeah, fast. Well, that's why he's in track. And he got there accidentally. Andrew, on the track.
How's that?
He had an accident and broke his wrist in soccer, and he couldn't play basketball this year till the sectionals, so he went out for track.
Oh.
And look where it got him.
He's not carrying a cast.
Not now, but he had a cast during the indoor season.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he did something in his wrist, and he couldn't play basketball. And I don't know if they had a pin in it or something, and then he took the cast off. He wasn't cleared to play hoops until the first game of sectionals. That was the only game he got to play this year, I think. So, but he went in the track with the Gallup boys, and the rest, as they say, is history. Yep.
That's kind of how Jamie got in. Well, actually, Jamie got into cross country, just tagging along with Austin Rumberger, I think.
I remember him.
Yeah, and they were practicing in August, and he went along and stuck with it, and ended up being an Ironman. So there you go.
There you go.
All right, let's see. So happy late birthday to President Bush. Honors always to President Reagan here in the Reagan studio. Jim Nicosia will be skydiving on his 90th birthday. We'll all be there to watch it.
We'll do a podcast from there.
We can do a podcast. We're not going to do it on the way down. We'll do it from the bottom.
Yeah. We could mic him up.
We could.
No, I'm not going to. I don't think you're going to get me to skydive.
Whoa, we've got it on tape here.
Yeah.
No, I think
We
you're
really,
right.
I think we better go up and listen to that tape, Jim, and see what you really said.
Okay.
And we'll call you Poppy. All right. Okay. So we'll be back Tuesday with the radio broadcast, and I don't know about next Friday I'll be gone, so we're going to be off for a couple of weeks on the podcast. But stay tuned, because eventually we'll come back with more of the show with No Name.